Hey, do you feel like a total artistic nobody? Just nobody wants to give you any time or attention. Nobody cares about your art? Well, that's not a bad thing. In fact, what if that's your greatest advantage? That will help you succeed. Because while you watch me draw this today, I'm going to teach you why being a total nobody, somebody that feels like a total loser because just you are completely invisible, is actually your greatest competitive advantage. And that's what's helped me. And so by the end of this video, you'll learn why that's not your detriment, it's actually your superpower. Now at the outset of this video, here's one thing that I want to let you know. I literally could have been crippled by this very fact. I could have been crippled by the fact that nobody cared about anything that I did, that I didn't get the support that I wanted to, that I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, or that I didn't have all the opportunities that some of my other art colleagues and friends did have. But you know what? That doesn't matter. And in fact, one of the things that I will more powerfully posit for you, my friend, and for every artist out there, is that you feeling like a complete nobody is going to give you the greatest edge over everybody else. And I want to level that up. Maybe you even feel like a total loser, because I felt like this. And let me just bring you back to the darkest moments of my life. I had like one friend in the world. I could never get girls to talk to me. I'd never been on a date. I was wicked fat. And to top that all off, I was completely covered with acne. And when you hear the term pizza face, no, I wish I was pizza face. Y'all, I was the entire Domino's chain right here, okay? Y'all, everything was wrong. Everything was bad. And I think that all of you need to have a major loser moment in your life, not because I want you to feel bad, but because that established a baseline for me. And I said to myself at one point, this is enough. And that's what I think it will provide for you, because you might think that because you're not succeeding right now, that you're doomed to failure. But one thing that I learned is that success will never teach you anything. But failure is the greatest teacher in life. And some of y'all will be sleeping through that class. And it's so easy to get just stuck into this mindset and this frame of just suffering. So now let me teach you how to go ahead and flip all your current paradigms around your art and your loserness or your nobodiness, and actually learn how this is going to be your greatest weapon. First off, do you feel like you just have absolutely nothing going for you? And because of that, you can't do the things that you want. You can't, for example, I know at one point I felt like, oh man, I'm not good enough to go ahead and try and get clients. I'm not good enough to start a YouTube channel. I'm not good enough to try and start this program. And for you, you might be thinking the same thing. Well, there's no point in me starting my manga. There's no point in me doing this because my life is not great right now. I got nothing going for me. I'm living at home with my parents. I don't have a penny to my name. And so the thing that I want to let you know is that that's of no detriment to you. And so one of the things that I often do when I'm with people in my mentorship and I'm helping them, coaching them through how to get started, they'll frequently ask me, well, Sean, what happens if I don't get clients? And I'll be like, okay, how does that make your life any worse? And they're like, oh, I guess it doesn't. I'm like, yeah, how does that make your finances any worse? You're not getting any money right now. How could that possibly make things worse? Well, I guess it doesn't. Well, there you go. You think that right now, the fact that you have nothing is somehow going to worsen by you trying. And that's actually the complete polar opposite. What if instead you just embraced that and just said, look, it can't get any worse than this right now. Literally, I don't have any followers, so me posting online, that's not gonna change anything. Okay, I don't have any clients, so me trying to get clients right now, if I don't, that won't change anything either. What if I don't have anything done for this awesome video game I want to make? And if I start trying it, will anything change? Could it possibly get worse? No, it won't. So just ask yourself this, friend. If you are scared to move forward in your life, is you actually making those efforts? Laboring towards whatever you want to make or whatever you want to do, how could it possibly make your life any worse? And when you really get down to it, you're just stricken by fear. And I remember feeling this too back when I had no followers and I had nobody that cared about my art. And just to be honest, like I still don't have a following anywhere for any of my art platforms. This is literally my only platform I've ever been able to grow on. And it's not even for my art, it's for my advice. That doesn't hold you back. You don't need a following to get clients. If somebody here needs to hear that, please hear me right now. You don't. I still don't have a following. I still get thousands of dollars of our clients every single year, and you can do the same thing too. And if you want to learn how to do that, by the way, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe, because I am going to give you the most actionable advice anywhere on this platform. So just consider this now, friend. There's no detriment to you doing the thing you want to do, starting the things you want. So the only thing that's holding you back from that is you. Now, this next one, this is gonna be really powerful for y'all. And when I was first introduced to this like totally blew my mind. But you might think right now, well, Sean, look, I've done all of these things. I've tried all of these things. I tried to do this, I tried to do that. And no matter what I do, I just come up as a complete flop and failure. Is this you? Are you thinking that, well, the fact that you have never been able to grow an audience or get anybody interested in your thing or even give you a thumbs up or a like online, that's just your reason to just give up, and you just want to just melt in just being a complete loser in life and just accept your place, right? Well, instead of acting like that, here's another consideration for you. Imagine that you right now knew exactly how many failures you had until you would succeed. What if right now I said to you, hey, look, I know things are down right now, but you are literally 56 failures away to you actually getting everything that you want and way more. Like, imagine that just like a Doctor Strange style portal just opened up, future you just step through, and they're 10 years older, and they're like, whoa, look, everything is totally different than it is right now. Because I just screwed up these things right here, you are 27 losses away, you are 10 different attempts away from getting that first client, that you are currently 102 failed artworks away from you actually starting to get a foothold into what you want to do. How hard would you work to get those failures faster? And so one of the things that I really love is this idea that you should want to accrue failures fast. One of the greatest advantages to you being somebody who's completely invisible, either online or in person, as far as your artistry is concerned, is that you should want to fail because you fail in silence. And that's a great advantage that we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute here and why that's a superpower for you. But just overall, I want to encourage you, don't see failure as an end result. See failure as data. Okay, that didn't work. How about this? This doesn't happen for me. What if I try this? And so what you want to do is close your mind to saying things that are identity statements like I suck, or I'm a loser, or this isn't happening for me, or I'm not meant for this. Those are identity statements. Instead, what if you started to, again, reframe this? How do I do this? How do I make this happen? How do I change my results? How do I level up? What do I need to do to make that happen? If you focus on failing so fast, you will accrue a mountain of wisdom that everybody else that's getting it easy or getting it sooner than you just won't have. In fact, what if that actually makes them more fragile than you? Next, let's talk about a super important topic. I'm sure that you've probably come up against this, and this is gonna take the form of, let's say 2 words right now. And those 2 words are gonna be motivation and discipline. And do you suck at both of those things? And so here's the thing that I don't think anybody really tells you about motivation. First off, is that motivation is not anything that you need to have at the outset. Even discipline is not something you need to have. See, motivation is actually just a feeling. You don't, nor should you ever rely on feeling motivated to do something, okay? What if you instead, because again, you've got nothing going for you, what if you more heavily considered every action that you're taking as accomplishing one of 3 things? It is either working against what you want to have, it is working towards what you have, or you're fighting super hard to keep what you have right now. Because again, let's go back to that baseline I talked about at the forefront of this video. If you feel like you're a total loser, you got nothing going for you, anything socially, artistically, economically, one of the things that I learned that really empowered me to really work harder than I think a lot of other people and to persist longer than most is the fact that I don't want that life. So I thought to myself, okay, I don't want to work to serve a life that really makes me miserable. Everything that I do, even to this day and time, I might be like, you know what, I just feel like having an off day. And I'll be like, oh, hold on now. I don't want to ever relive those moments in my life. I will never go back to that. What if you made that your new standard right now? I will never go back. That sucks so much. I hate my life right now. Nothing is good. I hate where I live. I live in this dump apartment right now. I hate everything about my lack of prospects. I will never do anything that I want. This will never make me happy if I stayed in this moment. Because if I work against that, that can provide you some good motivation and some discipline for you to build some habits to get out of that. Next, what if you instead also thought about this? What you're doing right now is just keeping everything the same. And so one of the greatest things for you to understand is that if you're not working to improve your life, you're working to keep your life exactly how it is right now. How's that hit you? Because when I realized that, I started to really reframe everything I was doing. And I come across so many people that are like, Sean, I'm maxed out. I'm doing so much. How could I possibly do more? And I'm like, I don't think you need to do more. Sometimes you just need to do less. Sometimes you need to cut out the stupid things in your life, the things that aren't serving you, that aren't actually improving you. Because look, just to hit you with this hard line, and I say this with lots of love, but your life is the fault of your actions right now. Everything that you're doing right now is literally your fault. And I don't say that to put you down. I say that to empower you. Because if you don't accept it as your fault for living the life that you've been living for the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 years of your life, then you can't change anything. You just gave up. And we're better than that, y'all. And I know you are too. So start thinking about, what are you working for? What are you working against? Or what are you working to maintain right now? Moving on. Let's talk about a huge advantage that everybody else has. And I'm going to put this through a couple lens for you here. You might think that right now, especially if you want to have some big, massive following, or if you're upset that, nobody gives me any time or attention. I put my art up for critique. Nobody tells me anything. Or, hey, I put my art up online and I never get any reactions to it. Oh, woe is me. If you have nobody that's actually giving you any attention, I'm going to say good. Because in those moments, you just got to understand, nobody's judging you. If nobody judges you, and that means nobody cares, then let me just refocus this. Who is caring? Who does care? And what that does is just kind of like shift everything around. You really think about it and you're like, oh, you care. Point that finger back this way. Stop thinking, whoa, all these people don't care. Why should you care about that? Like when I make artwork, I'm not thinking about anybody else. I'm thinking about myself. And even when I'm making artwork for my clients, I'm not thinking, oh my God, will they like it? Oh, I really hope that they love it. Is this going to be good? Is this going to be terrible? No. The first person I will always want to impress is me. Because if I impress me, I impress them. And it's the same thing with your art. And I went through this literally for years before I started to get clients I just want you to have the most awesome relationship with your art. What if your art was like your best friend, okay? If you personify that, right? You want to just have this outrageously great friendship with your art. So for you right now, are you adversarial with your art? Are you two fighting? If you were a Facebook status, would it say it's complicated? So if you're afraid right now because, oh, nobody cares about anything I do, well, good. Nobody's judging you. You're free, friend. Fly, little birdie. It's okay. But the only person that's going to think otherwise is you. Stop it. It's not helping. You're just giving yourself another reason to judge yourself. And you don't need any more, do you? Another popular thing that you're going to come up against as we move on is you're going to say to yourself something along the lines of like, well, you don't have any type of resources available for you. And so let me ask you this. Are you the type of person who's really short on time? Are you the person who also, by the way, maybe you have a family or you're responsible for taking care of somebody else, or maybe you're somebody that has a really physically demanding job and you just get home and you're just like, nope, can't do anything else. I got to go ahead and I just got to rest. I got to do absolutely nothing all day. And so here's one thing I want to offer you, right? What if you started to reframe this and think, okay, the fact that I am lacking in these resources, what if that actually grants me greater focus when I do have the time? Because one of the things that I used to lament all the time, I used to be so sad and be like, oh my God, I don't have 8 hours a day to just sit down and draw. Or, oh, this person's so lucky. Oh my God, they get to have an entire day and days on end to just sit down and just make all this awesome stuff. Or even with me, like when somebody commissions me, like I tell them straight up, like it's gonna be about 4 weeks. I know people that can have the time because of their schedule to go ahead and get that done in a week or two. I wish I could do that, but I can't. And just to go ahead and put this out there in case you think I'm somehow privileged on this, I work my full-time art job. I also have a freelance business. I also run this YouTube channel. I also run a mentorship. And by the way, if you want to learn about my mentorship, go ahead and check out the link down below in the description. You can learn all about it, how it's changed artists' lives, just like you. Aside from that, I'm also in a doctoral program. I just finished up writing my dissertation. It's 269 pages, 79,001 words long. And on top of that, I'm also a husband and a father. I don't have a lot of time. So instead of me just absolutely sinking into victim mentality, oh, woe is me, I can't, I started to think, okay, how can I use my time? The other thing I want you to kind of consider is that if you have somebody else that you are responsible for, what if you started to think about how you can be a model for them? And if you don't have anyone you're responsible for, how can you be a model for everybody else around you? Because look, you're never gonna be short on any resources to keep you distracted, to keep you away from what you wanna do, from who you want to be. You're never gonna come up against any moment in time in this current era and just be like, I just got nothing, I've got all this time. I wish I had something to do with all of this time. No, you're gonna be on the opposite end of that. And so if you really start to look down on it and say, hey, look, because I don't have resources, I need to master my number one resource, which is my focus, because focus beats time 100% of the time. Even if you're somebody that started later in life as an artist, you might have been thinking right now, well, hey, look, I didn't start making art until I was 25 years old or 30 years old, and I'm screwed versus all these kids like me who started when they were like 8 years old. Nobody cares, because look, can you honestly say that you can't work with more intention and focus than a 6-year-old? Because if that's the case, you got a wrong focus here, friend. So start thinking right now, how do you use your resource of time better and use your focus on distracting yourself less? Now, here's a big thing that you probably have never experienced, never thought of before in your life. You're gonna say to yourself, okay, well look, I don't have a reputation. And so therefore, again, you fall into this mindset of like, well, I don't have a reputation, I don't have any followers, I don't have anybody that cares about me. Therefore, I can't charge what I want, I can't get what I want, I can't ever think about, oh, I'm so afraid to start to get clients because, oh, nobody's got any eyes on me. That's crap, by the way, y'all. Literally started this with like 100 followers, okay? And in the absence of that, here's what I want to let you know. Man, you have freedom. You can just do whatever you want. You have no expectations. I don't think anybody's really said this out loud, so maybe I'm going to be the first one that you've ever heard this. The hardest part about growing up isn't actually growing up and growing into finances and growing into families. It's about growing in expectations. So like my wife has an expectation of me, my kids have an expectation of me, my job has an expectation of me, my clients have an expectation of me. My audience, you here on YouTube, which I love you by the way, hope you'll want to join my little party here of artists that like to watch me every single week, and you have an expectation of me, okay? If I just started to go ahead and post AI slop content out here, you would be like, whoa, forget about this idiot, I'm out. And so in absence of all of that, you have full freedom to create. And then the other thing I want you to also think about, because I didn't really consider it until it started to happen to me, have you ever thought about how that's actually a huge detriment for you to have those expectations? Like, I can't tell you how many popular artists I've seen content of them where they're just like, I wish I could just do what I want. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. I just want to do this, but nobody cares about it. And so they keep going along and doing the same thing, not because they enjoy it, but because they know it brings them success. And to some extent, you do have to specialize. You do have to focus. That's inevitability in life. Look, just as an example, I had to focus on being a good husband for my wife. And because I did that, I therefore had to focus on disappointing the other 3.5 billion women in the world. I know, I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry. But I focused on one. And so in the same vein of thought, When you don't have any expectations of you, you don't have any reason to not do what you want and try what you want and just enjoy the things that you want to build the relationship with your art that you want and need. On the other end of that, when you have expectations of you, some of the things that I didn't understand until I started to get some level of recognition. And so for me, that started with one of my first anti-AI art videos, because if you don't know me, I absolutely hate AI art. I think it's total crap and no one's doing anything with it. And I made this video 2 years ago called AI Art is Dying. And it literally is still. I fully adhere to that. And that video blew up way faster than anything I'd ever made before. Like literally in 2 days, it was like 20,000 views. And then a week later, it was over 100. And nowadays, I think it's sitting at like 500,000 at the time of recording this. And like, that's my most successful video ever. And what I did not expect is how vitriolic the AI community's reaction to that video was. And honestly, it still is. I still delete comments on that video from them. Because of that, I had this like weird emotional moment where I was like, oh my God, like, do I want this? Is this what I want? Is this the right thing to do? But then I saw how it was helping artists, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is the right thing to do. I am helping people. I'm not just putting out content to put out content or chasing views. I actually just want to help artists like you. All of that just to tell you this. When you don't have an expectation, you have full creative license to do whatever you want. So embrace it, my friend. Stop running away from it. Next, another frequent barrier you're probably gonna run yourself up against is the fact that, you're broke. You have no money, you're really strapped for cash, and because of the fact that, or maybe you also live in like an economically disadvantaged country, you think that that doesn't allow you to do the things other people do. And so what I want to just reframe for you is this, because I felt this too in some capacity, because I was really tight on cash. I had to work really hard, and I know how much that sucks to come home from a job that you don't like, and then you have to sit down in front of a computer like this and just be like, okay, maybe we'll make magic happen, but probably not, right? Do you struggle with this? If you're feeling like your economics are holding you back, your finances are really the felon of your creativity, what if you saw that as another way for you to actually succeed? And so here's what I mean by that. If you are low on finances, then you can definitely be high on focus. Because if you don't have a lot of money, think a lot about how do you use and stretch everything that you're doing. Like, I just remember when I first started out, right? Before I upgraded to Cintiqs and everything for my drawing, I used to just have like the tiniest little Intuos. It wasn't even called an Intuos back then. It was called a Wacom Bamboo Create. This thing was like $99. And I started my commissions journey on that. I had that for 5 years. For literally 6 years, I used a computer that slowly started to degrade to the point where like it was brutal to try and do anything on it. And so for you that's thinking that money is your barrier to you doing the things that you want to do, no, friend, your focus is. Or what if you don't have a lot of money? Then just think, okay, how do I allocate my money more intelligently? One of the things that I've also recommended and I have done as I've been able to grow my business is I stopped buying stupid things that just brought me joy for a short period of time. Instead, I started to invest it. Like last year, I literally joined 3 mentorships. And it's really been the best thing for me. And I would heavily advocate everybody consider doing the same. Because if you're like, oh my God, I can't afford any type of either an art course or something that will upgrade your drawing life, then just consider this. Like, where are you throwing money away? How much did you spend on games last year? How much did you spend on your Steam account last year? Because if you're low on money, I want you to think about how to invest your time commitment, how to invest the small amount of money that you have into something that will actually be seen as an investment into your future. Otherwise, y'all, you just get stuck in this poverty style mindset where you think that it matters more than it actually does. And that's not a disadvantage for you. And I'm just gonna say it, but if you're economically strapped, then you're also really rich with reasons for why you should wanna get out of that. Have you considered that? Next, one of the things I've been slowly alluding to throughout this video is how much you think you need to have eyes, you need to have attention, you need to have people to just sit there and pat you on the back and say, good job, buddy. All right, you go, girl. And here's one thing that I really want to pull together here now. Why do you need that? Where did you not get that in your life? Why do you equate attention equals success. Who told you that? Who told you that there's any point in being an artist where in order for you to be a successful artist, in order for you to be a good artist, in order for you to feel good about your art, that then requires a whole army of randos saying, good job, thumbs up, like, comment. Why does that matter? And so at this point, I really want to challenge you with this. Who are you really trying to impress? That person right there, the one I'm pointing to right now. This is the person you're trying to impress. And I don't mean me, I'm talking about you, buddy. You're trying to impress yourself. And you think that somehow the vanities of being online, of you getting attention or getting critique or getting the feedback that you want or getting the money that you want or having the following that you want is somehow going to bring you what you want. It won't. It won't. And nobody's going to care about you if you do not care about yourself. You need to hear that. And I especially see this wrapped up all the time, again, with people that want to start their freelance business online. And this is one of the biggest, heaviest things that I've been able to combat very successfully for over a decade. And I'd love to teach you how and to show you why you don't need any type of following or any social media in order to get those clients. Go ahead and check out this video right here, because I'm gonna teach you the ways that have worked for thousands of artists just like you. Thanks so much. If this helped you, share with somebody that you know. See you next time.